we're Mashiach here. We talk a lot about Mashiach, and sometimes it could seem like it's all like folklore, like these like crazy things, like oh wow, like it's like a nice story. Chaz v'shalom, exactly.
It's more than that. Way more.
For sure. But like one of these things especially is the whole idea of the Lev Yason and the Shor Bar. It's like explained in it's like a sea monster and a like this bear ox thing that they're each gonna shecht each other and we're gonna all eat the meat in the time of Mashiach's coming. It's very like you just like smile like a regular person. He's like smiling all like it's really nice story. But if we look more into it, this holds all of these secrets to the what's going to be in the Geula, what's leading up to it, and everything. So So this Su'uda, this meal that we're going to have when Mashiach comes, of the Shor Bar and the Lev Yason, it's mentioned many times in the Gemara. Like it says in the Gemara, Asi the Kosh Baruch Hu Su'uda Tzadikim, that Hashem's going to make a Su'uda for the Tzadikim, Mivsar Shel Lev Yason, from the meat of the Lev Yason. And it also in the Medrash Medubar, it says over there, in that same Su'uda, it's gonna be from the meat of the Shor Bar and the Lev Yason, that each is gonna and they're each gonna shecht each other. And then it also says in the Gemara that when we finish the Suda, when Mashiach comes and we finish the Suda, it's time to bench, right? So the cup that we're gonna bench on is gonna go around to all the different tzaddikim that live throughout all the generations. And each one is going to say, no, I'm not fitting to bless from this cup of wine. Why? And then it's going to be, and then finally, David HaMelech is going to be passed the wine, he's going to bless her. So why are all the tzaddikim, especially the Avos, Moshe Rabbeinu, they're all going to deny blessing the cup of wine? So the reason is because this wine is the Yayin Meshumar, which is explained as being wine that was set aside from Sheshis Mei Breshit, the 6 days of creation. So it's like a very, very, very holy thing. So all these things, like, and then we'll see what it represents in Pneumatic Torah and everything. But before we see how it all like represents in Pneumatic Torah, we have to first recognize that this whole thing is going to be an actual physical meal. We're going to, when Mashiach comes, we are going to eat the physical meat of the Lev Yason, the Shor Bar, and it's going to be a mamash, a real meal, not just a nice story. It said the Maharsha says, "Da ki yesh lanu lahanim v'kol advarim ha'elu." We have to believe in all of these things that it says when Mashiach comes. We're going to eat the meal, all these other things, the miraculous things, they've shot on like as they are. That even though that there's a lot of people that explained what these different ideas mean with regard to their intention, like what do they represent, but all of these things, even though they represent much more than the actuality of what it is, it's still actually going to be the physical meal itself. So it's not just the same thing that we think in our minds. It's like a nice story that represents different ideas when Mashiach comes, and it's also like explained that there was actually one interesting thing, that there were two of each created, of two Lev Yasons and two Shor Bars, one male, one female, and it says about that Hashem basically in a very long time ago, he spayed the male and killed the female of the Lev Yason, and then he salted it, and then he salted the female for it to be saved for this meal. And then also with the Shor Bar, he also made it the male not able to produce offspring, and he froze the female Shor Bor. It's frozen somewhere in the world right now, and then when Mashiach comes, we're going to eat it. And then also the idea of this the Yain Meshumar, it says Ayin Loi Ra'asa, that an eye never saw it before. So these things, all of the things, and then this is to still say that the males are actually living. The male Lev Yasin, the male Shor Bor, they're actually living in the world right now as we speak, and they're going to be revealed along with the ones that are already killed already for us prepared to eat, and the Yain Meshumar. They're all going to be revealed when Mashiach comes. So Chassidus explains that this feast that we're going to have with the Shor Bor and the Yain Meshumar and the Lev Yasin, it's an expression of the whole, like basically the whole avodah of the Jewish people throughout the whole creation of the world and it's going to come to an expression in this meal of the Lev Yasin Shor Bor and the Yain Meshumar, because each thing represents something different in avodah Hashem. So the first thing that they represent is that the Lev Yasin represents the like the upper world, like the Olam, the Izgali, because the Lev Yasin lives in the water, so it's in the hidden world. So it represents the idea of like the spiritual worlds, things that are not like so revealed. But the Shor Bor, by contrast, represents this physical world that we do, that is revealed to everyone. The lower world that we're here. So the two ideas, they represent the two central aspects in avodah Hashem as well. That there's one type of avodah of tzaddikim that they primarily work with the spiritual world. They do all kinds of their yichudim and all these things. But there's another type of and this is an example of this is the Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai, that he was completely removed from Gashmias, and he sat in the cave and just wrote the Zohar there. He was completely spiritual, like just dealing with all of the spiritual matters and brought the Zohar. But there is another type of avodah, and so that's represented by the Lev Yasin, dealing with spiritual matters. But the type of avodah represented by the Shor Bor is when for the avodah of tzaddikim that brings kedusha down into this world, and it refines this world right here, and the holiness comes down here, and there's a great mile to that even though he's not this type of avodah is not getting on the same spiritual levels as the avodah of the Lev Yasin, the spiritual world. He's not reaching as high. He is refining this spiritual world, the physical world, which is what the intent was for anyways. So these two things are what builds the Geula. These two types of avodah that was done throughout every single generation is what brings on the Geula. And then when all the avodah is done, and then all the spiritual pules, everything was done up in the avodah of the Lev Yasin, and all the physical avodah is done, the birurim, right? The avodah of the Shor Bor. When all of those are done, we're going to have the Geula, and we're going to have this meal of the Lev Yasin and the Shor Bor, which it's that these two types of avodah are enclosed in them, and that it's going to represent the ultimate shleimus of these two types of avodah in the world when the Geula comes. Having this meal, it's going to be the climax and of all the avodah that was done throughout the world. This meal of the Shor Bor and the Lev Yasin. So now we can explain this whole concept where it explains that the Shor Bor and the Lev Yasin, the male ones, the living ones right now, when Mashiach comes, it's time to have the meal. They're each going to shecht each other, right? They're each going to shecht each other at the same time. So it's not to say that this is like a destructive thing, that the avodah is gonna die out, chas v'shalom. But what does shechting represent? When a person shechts an animal, he brings it to its ultimate purpose, its ultimate shleimus. The purpose of why it was created, to be elevated to Kedusha in order to be eaten by something higher than it, to be used for holy purposes. Right? So it's the same idea with the Shor Bor and Lev Yasan, when the whole Geula represents the shlemus of our entire avodah throughout the time of Gullus. And that's its ultimate completion is going to be at this Suda with the Shor Bor and the Lev Yasan. So, and then after all of this, we're gonna come to the point of the new revelation of Ayin Lo Ra'asa, eye that never saw, the Yayin HaMeshumar. We're gonna drink this wine, which hints to all of the hidden secrets that they were never ever revealed in the world. It was made at Sheshes Made Gracious, and then we had the whole creation of the world. And then Mashiach times where it's going to be revealed the secrets. So yeah, and then they're all going to be revealed, and when the secrets are revealed, this is the entire climax of this meal, and we should have it, experience it, the postures, because we're going to have it, the experience of postures, the Koyal Mamash right now with Mashiach Sikenu.
Amen.
That was like crazy good.